Greetings everyone, here's another delightful video from me to you through the power of the internet. And this is the starter set for, this is a really long ass title. I believe it's a pre-title and then a prefix title, the main title or body or something like this. This is, Warhammer Age of Sigmar Roleplay Soulbound Starter Set. That's a long enough of title for you. But anyways, this is from Cubicle 7. They make really nice starter sets overall. The surface on the box is actually textured ever so slightly with it's coated. They have the Faltering Light, a 48-page adventure that comes with it. The Brightspear City Guide, which is 64 pages. An introduction to the world of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. 5 gatefold character sheets, or I like to call them cabinet style character sheets, with pre-generated characters, each with their own goals, backgrounds, and connections. 3 two-sided rule reference sheets with rules for tests, combat, and spellcasting. A 2-sided sheet with a map of the Brightspear on one side and the lands of Aspera on the other. Tokens for tracking Metal, Soulfire, and Doom, and a set of 8 6-sided dice. Estimated playtime is 1 hour to 4 hours. It's ages 14 and plus, 2 to 7 players. MSRP's is for $30. It's a nice box overall. As you can see, very nice artwork on the front. There's the back with all the stuff on it. If you want to pause for a quick moment and read that. This happens to be right here for outdoor survival. On the top of the box, we happen to have some sheet useful reference section, and it's treated so it's good for rolling dice into it. You have special dice for this system. Please note that they're numbered 1 to 5, and the 6th side is basically a key. So there you go. There's a total of 8 of them, as it said before. Okay, this first one right here is the Read This First introduction sheet for Warhammer Age of Sigmar Roleplay Soulbound. I believe first edition. So it gives you a quick overview of the system, of the important details of the system, and so forth. On the back side is actually a nice little tracking sheet for the Gamemaster, for when you're running the game. So you can keep track of the enemies and the fears and the threats and so forth. Then you have the character sheets. They refer to these as, what did they refer to these as? See, that's how forgetful I am. They refer to them as gatefold character sheets, but I like to call them cabinet style, because you open them up like cabinet doors in the kitchen. You happen to have a nice little piece of artwork right here with some character details on the connections of the character. You have your body, mind, and soul scores, as well as your skills up here. And then you have your talents down here, equipment for your character, and your combat abilities down here. You can take notes here. And then on this side right here is a quick explanation key on various concepts such as armor, toughness, wounds, and so forth. On this side right here, there is some quotes and information for the character, so you can get into the role play of the character. And on the back side, you have a larger portrait of the character. Now, the neat thing about the forces of good in Age of Sigmar Soulbound is that, unlike Warhammer 40k, which has lore behind why only men can be Astartes or a Primaris, in this setting you can actually have women as I had literally just brain farted and forgot the term for them. I want to say Thunder Warriors or something like that, or Lightning Warriors. But yeah, I forgot for a moment. You have one of them, and then you have what you have here is a dwarf Sky Ranger, and then you have a elf. If I remember correctly, this is from the ones from the deep. I'm having a brain fart. It's really late at night, and I forgot. Wood elves, basically, or wood spirits. And then you have just a regular human priest. And then you have your character combat reference sheets. And you happen to have two of them. You have combat reference on this one, both sides, starting with your zones and all your important little details. And then it continues to the back side. And then you have the rules reference sheet, which talks about the basics of the system. If you want, you can slow down the video and actually read it. And that's the backside. And then this is the spell reference sheet, which gives you the basic rules of some of the magic spells, as well as some spells you can use for the system. We happen to have these nice tokens for your Game Master to use, and one of them falls out, and then two of them falls out, and then won't be in 5 seconds. All three fall out, and something like that. You have this nice handy dandy map. That's a nice compass or rose compass. This shape city, rather colorful, as well as the backside. This is a very handy reference tool for the Game Master, to quickly show the players what part of the town they're in. You happen to have the first adventure here. Put this down here. And on the backside, it has more information, such as conditions, weapons, armor traits, aids, and environmental traits. So you have multiple points of reference. In the book, it's actually very nicely laid out. You have a little quick table of contents and credits over here, a quick introduction that runs you through the setup of the adventure. It goes right into that. You get a nice little piece of half-page art, as well as various making a test tip here, how to do that for your players. And it continues on through there. There is a nice spread of artwork throughout the entire book for various situations with interesting creatures, with some maps and all the fun jazz. In the back end of the book, there is actually some stat blocks for various creatures as well, which is pretty neat. And then you have the book on the setting itself that walks you through the setting. Oh, it's unlike this one, which is a staple bound back one for the adventure, which is very common for whatever reason. This happens to be a glue bound back one, square back. Happens to come with a map of the city yet again, along with a key. I'll hold this like this. You can actually read it if you want to. The key. You have a nice table of contents here. It walks you through the... Oh, I'll show you the table of contents in closer detail. So there you go. There's a little string that's actually coming out of the glue backing back there. It kind of walks you through Welcome to Brightspire, the quick history. Then it goes on to a guide through Brightspire with some artwork, showing off some of the locations in the town with important little details. It is a fairly high fantasy setting overall. So that gets you the general gist. There are some stat blocks in here for various things, and a few other little important things like Bad Moon Rising information, and a few other things, as well as other creatures. And then in the very back of the box, you have this really nice advertisement for the core rulebook for Age of Sigmar, as well as the collector's editions of 2 of the books as well. Actually, yeah, that's the core rulebook, I do believe. So there you go. On the very bottom box, there happens to be yet again a map of the part of the world in which they are in. I do believe, if I remember correctly, that all these worlds are different little planes, and people go from plane to plane or realm to realm through various teleport gateways that allow them to get through there. Backtracking through this whole thing. Put the whole thing. The box itself is top notch. I do really like the fact that they put tips and maps and all kinds of fun stuff inside the top of the box. It's treated, so if you get a little moisture on it, it's not going to go bad really fast. You get the necessary dice for the system. The character sheets are very simple and to the point. The Gamemaster gets a nice sheet that covers that stuff. So that's a really nice feature right there for tracking things for the Gamemaster. The character sheets are very simple. Overall, I really like that. You have some nice, the adventure book is nice. The setting book is nice. You have a nice little map for showing off stuff. You have cheat sheets that come with the system as well. It's a very nice system. There is no dedicated rule book for the system in this box, but the rule set is simple enough that it should not be an issue. However, a dedicated booklet that contains a bunch of the equipment and stuff like that and more clarification on rules would have been a really important thing to include in a starter box. At least just enough stuff that people can like customize a little bit on their characters and stuff like that. So that's a little ding there. And then there is like the standard, I would love it if there was a cheap Gamemaster screen that was tossed in there. So there's that. Overall, I do feel that the rule system seems to be exceedingly simple. I have not run this system, by the way, so I cannot say 100% sure, but the way it seems to be written up is it's a fairly simple system. It shouldn't be terribly difficult to teach someone how to run it, and the lack of a dedicated rule book in the starter set is probably not a severe detriment to the set as it would be for other systems. It does have the cheat sheets, which actually have pretty much all the rules you need to play the game, just not any in-depth explanations on the mechanics or anything or examples, which is what the book would help with. However, you have a nice map. It's not a big map. You do have tokens for aiding in the Gamemaster, keeping track of things and stuff like that, and keeping track of the characters and overall. So overall, this should be, if they had a dedicated rulebook that had explanations on the mechanics of the system and examples, this would be more like that 3.75. It would almost be a 4-star. Yeah, it would be almost 4 stars if it had that dedicated book. But considering that it does not have a dedicated book with actual explanations, and this being a starter set, it's really important to have a little booklet or a bunch of stuff that has some examples of how to adjudicate some mechanics, just in case the Gamemaster gets in a little questionable area where he or she is not certain as to whether a certain thing works a certain way. They can read the rule, and then they could turn to a page that has examples of how the rule plays out, or other rules related to that, and they could figure it out from there. So, unless you get like the core rulebook, which I do not have, I'm probably going to order that in the future. I had to work it into my budget. I will say that this is a 3.5 star product that is so close to being jumped an entire quarter plus from 3.5 all the way up to 4 stars just by an inclusion of a booklet that has examples of the mechanics being played or various other things for rules, specifically for player characters. You can hand it out to them, and they do have the cheat sheets, the 3 of them with the exact rules on both sides. But another booklet that would have said, these are examples, or these are the basic rules from start to finish for running a character, that would be awesome. So, and not to mention, it would also help out the Game Master because they can also read that through. This is probably, considering that's $30, not a terribly bad option if you are interested in getting into the Warhammer side of things, but you don't want to go 40K. You want to go more fantasy. There's this option. You also happen to have the other one right here, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, 4th edition, which is also produced by Cubicle 7. I also did a video on this in the past. It's actually pretty hefty overall. I think it's probably a little bit heavier than the Age of Sigmar. Well, Warhammer Age of Sigmar Roleplay a Soulbound Starter Set. Yes. My goodness, the name keeps getting longer. And longer and longer. So anyways, I do say, if you really want to get into Soulbound, Warhammer Age of Sigmar Roleplay Soulbound 1st edition, get this right here. I do not know of any Age of Sigmar... Warhammer Age of Sigmar Roleplay Soulbound role-playing game start 2nd edition coming out. I do not know of any of that. I don't even know if it's even a thing on Cubicle 7's list of things to do at this point. I think they're still supporting this, plus Fantasy Roleplay, as well as Wrath and Glory 2nd edition, which I don't have down here yet. So, there you go. It's not bad. I wish there was a few more things added into it, but it's getting there. This is not a bad set. I just wish there was a Game Master screen and that booklet to hand out to players. So you can have one person studying the cheat sheets, and you can have another person studying the booklet, and between the two people, well, they could stitch together the rules as well as the Game Master adjudicating over that stuff, and you get an easier gameplay experience out of that. So, there you go. Next time, I will be covering Pitford, Gateway to the Ruins for the Mutant Epoch, published by Outland Arts. Incidentally, sometime in the next 2 to 3 weeks, the expansion rules for the Mutant Epoch will be coming out soon. I'm still waiting on that. It got pushed back by another week due to needing to correct some errors, and that'll be super cool to see what they come up with on that one. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoy these videos, and you scroll back through my whole huge list and see a starter set or a core rulebook you might be interested in, or a product, go ahead and check it out. Leave a like on whatever you are interested in. Go ahead and go to the community section and go down the list of the polls and vote in whatever poll you're interested in. I go through all my polls every so often, even the old ones that are like from a year ago, and take note of where it is marked and see if, hey, okay, all of a sudden there is this high level of interest for the Mutant Epoch. I will definitely speed up and work more of those videos in. By the way, this is the whole pile of the Mutant Epoch right here. All these books right here. Right next to these cards, or it's under the cards. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a delightful day, a nice night, a wonderful weekend, a magnificent month, and see you next time. Ciao.